Hi guys, this is Ails from Ails Gaming TV, and in this video we will talk about the things you should avoid here in Solo Leveling Arise. By the way guys, I guarantee you that the last thing in this video is the most important one, so be sure to watch till the end. But before we begin, if you would love to see more Solo Leveling Arise content, then please like and subscribe. This will really mean a lot to me, and it will give me more opportunities to reach more players all over the world who need guidance and a little bit of entertainment on their journey. So enough said, and let's jump right into the video.
Els Gaming TV.
So first, do not use your keys at rank B gates or below. These gates are not that worth it unless you really can beat an A rank gate and above. Keep in mind that Mark of Time only starts to drop at A rank gate, and you will need a lot of it to upgrade your armory. So since we have limited keys daily, it will be best for us to use them at the highest rank possible. Next is you should not upgrade artifacts that doesn't have a good substats unless necessary. Upgrading artifacts costs a lot of resources, so I suggest that you avoid upgrading artifacts that you will not be able to use in the long term. The only time that it is okay to do it is if you're pushing higher ranks in seasonal or daily events like Power of Destruction or Battlefield of Time. So saving up those materials for the day that you'll get a decent artifact drop will be a good choice to maximize your resources. Next is do not draw in every limited character banner. The game actually gives us a lot of free pulls by just completing the story quests and achievements, so many of us will just randomly draw in any banner that they see. I don't recommend doing this since this thing will definitely make your account weak unless you're the type of guy who gets an SSR unit every 5 pulls. So saving up your draw tickets first and waiting for the right character banner that will strengthen your team is the right decision to make. Take note that this method is used even in different gacha games like Genshin Impact, where the community has already learned how to skip a limited banner and go all out once they've seen a broken character get released. Next is do not ignore events. I recommend that you always check the events tab for you to keep on track on what events are currently ongoing, since you can get a lot of resources by just doing the normal things in your account. Like when there's an artifact enhancement event, then you can start upgrading all your artifacts to make your team much stronger. And on top of that, you will also receive bonus rewards since there's an ongoing artifact enhancement event. So it's like hitting two birds with one stone. Next is do not forget to use the Shadow Step. Shadow Step is one of sungjinwoo's QTE skills that applies a debuff to the target that decreases their defense by 60% for 15 seconds. This skill has a cooldown of 15 seconds as well, so never forget to use it as often as possible to maximize your damage output. Next is do not stay on one hunter for too long. When we're doing in-game content where we can only use our hunters, it's best to build a rotation on how you can maximize them by tagging in and out. Take note that we have 3 hunters in every team composition, so we can always bring a team of hunters that synergize well with each other. A good damage rotation that consists of applying buffs to your team and debuffs to the target will always deal a lot more damage compared to a hunter that stays for more than 20 seconds in the field. Another thing is that the QTE skill has an iframe, so maximizing it by swapping in with your other hunters will be a good way for you to have more survivability. Next is do not register your low score in Power of Destruction. I know that sometimes getting a perfect run in the Power of Destruction is pretty tiring, so we often settle for low scores. This decision will greatly affect our progress since the Power of Destruction has one of the best rewards that you can use to strengthen your team. So be sure that you only register the score where you perform best. I know that some servers have whales, that's why there's no point in getting a high score. But I suggest that you aim for at least top 10 to get decent rewards. Next is do not unlock all the shadows right away. I know that in some parts of the story mode we will need to use tank or iron to clear it with 3 crowns, but I assure you that unlocking all of them in the early stage of the game will make your progress much lower. Unless you're a heavy spender, then you will not have any problem with that. But for me, it's best that you focus on 3 shadows first, Igris and Blades, then choose between tank or iron to maximize your resources. Next is do not focus on leveling up one skill. This is pretty common for some newbies since they only want to max out their favorite skill. However, keep in mind that leveling up any skill that Sungjinwoo has will increase his total power. So scattering your resources when you have extra materials will be beneficial for you to increase your battle tier. Take note that total power is important here in SLA since there will be a lot of stat reduction when your team's total power is far below the recommended peak. Next is do not spam your shadows. For you to use them, You will need shades that you can get in some part of the story mode or when farming gates. It's best that you only use your shadows in fights where you will need to clear a certain stage much faster or if you're trying to push higher contents of the game. Shades are still pretty limited for now, so if you want to progress much faster in some parts of the game like the Battlefield of Trials or higher chapters of story mode, then it's best that you set your summon support control in manual mode when you're just doing your dailies. Next is do not buy gold in the exchange shop unless it is really needed. In the first part of the game, you will experience a gold shortage since you will have a lot of things to upgrade for you to progress. So what I highly suggest is for you to not rush things. However, if you're pushing ranks in the top spot on your server, then you might consider buying some in the exchange shop. But always keep in mind that it is still best that you only use your exchange shop currencies for the more important things such as rune fragments, mana elixir, skill scrolls, shadow upgrades, and draw tickets. Next is do not ignore elemental weakness. I know a lot of us have favorite weapons or skills in the game, that's why we even use them in some scenarios where they are not that effective. That's why it's best that you always check the recommended elements and try to build a setup that fits for that specific dungeon.
Time to warm up.
Ideally, we should have 5 setups for all elements to be sure that we will able to maximize the elemental advantage. Take note that you will deal 150% damage when you're attacking enemies with their elemental weakness. So be sure to always adjust your setup depending on the scenario. So for the last thing you should avoid, for me this is also the most important one. Do not compare your progress. This is common for those people who want to be the best in the whole world, but we all know that it will never happen since there's always someone else better than us in everything that we do. Another factor is that the game heavily relies on RNG, so there are actually F2P players that are as strong as a whale just because of this thing we call luck. So for you to enjoy playing this game, it's best that you don't compare your progress since the game is actually not a race. It is a marathon, so even a whale that quits after playing for 6 months will be outperformed by an F2P player that keeps playing the game for 3 years straight. Aside from that, the game doesn't have a PvP system, so there's no need for you to compare. Most of us play this game to escape reality, so let's just try to enjoy every part of it. Okay? So that's it. I hope I was able to help you know more about the things you should avoid when playing Sololevelingarise. You can comment down below if you think I missed some information or if you have any suggestions on what we should tackle next. Also, remember to play this game at your own pace, never get burnout, and always have fun. Till next time, peace!